Hey, my name's Patrick. I'm a student here at MSU. I just think it's pretty disgusting that you referred to AOC as the bartender, because that job is just as important as manipulating money on the stock market.
Is it factually inaccurate?
What?
Is it factually inaccurate that she was a bartender?
No, that's
Why is
accurate.
it disgusting?
What?
So why is it disgusting?
You can call the president a billionaire real estate developer. I don't care.
I think it's demeaning to her by just calling her a bartender. You know?
It's demeaning to talk about someone's work history?
No, but the way you said it made it sound like that's
Okay, I used to bartend and waitress, so what's your question?
Okay. Never mind. But also I was wondering, Candace, why you didn't debate Kyle Kalinske from Secular Talk. What he says is that he was in coordination with the people at Politicon, and they actually said that you weren't ready for debates.
Okay, so this is one of the weirdest internet rumors I've ever heard about myself. I didn't attend Politicon. I didn't attend Politicon because I was in my sister's wedding. So I don't know why someone thought I was debating someone in California when I had a wedding in Connecticut, but I never, it's just an internet myth.
Will you do it next year?
I don't really, is he, who's Kyle Kalinske?
Yeah, it's kind of like punching down for Candace, to be honest, so.
I'd like to debate AOC.
I respectfully disagree.
I'll take a Democrat candidate. I mean,
I talked to Kylie's and I talked to him on stage. We debated. It was fine. It was fun.
It's just kind of like
Candace says
trolling a little bit. So there's
also Mike Gravel 2020.
Thank you for your question.
Does anyone disagree in line? Anyone disagree? You come to the front, come behind the current questioner. Thank you. Okay, well then you definitely disagree with us, so you can come behind there. So current question and then current question and then the disagreement. Thank you. Okay.
All right, for an actual question, with the rise of events in America where people are labeled guilty until proven innocent, for example, with the Kavanaugh case, how can we go back to a culture of following due process and innocent until proven guilty?
This one gets me really fired up because, listen, and this is why I say that I'm not a feminist. I think it's so important for women, level-headed women, to find their voices and to speak out against the radicalization of feminism, because what they're doing is trying to remove due process and saying you should just believe someone because they're a woman, because that's the most absurd thing I've ever heard. Do women never lie? Have we never told a lie? If there's a woman that disagrees, have we never disagreed with one another? We're obviously not in lockstep. So I actually think that, and I'm talking specifically in terms of radicalized feminism, which led to the Brett Kavanaugh hearings, I think it's going to take women finding the courage to stand up against these pussy hat wearing liberal women who are trying to create topics that make people feel really uncomfortable, right? Of course, every single person in this room would be supportive of a sexual assault victim or a rape victim, and we have tremendous sympathy for any woman that lives through that. And the left knows that, so they take something that is an uncomfortable topic to talk about, and they radicalize it, and they say, now you can't say anything, and everything that we say is true. It's going to take brave women to move the country back into the direction of due process and saying, regardless of an experience, we don't believe women, we don't believe men, we believe facts.
And have to point out the absurd double standard out there. Keith Ellison, the sitting attorney general in Minnesota, has serious allegations against him and documented 911 calls for sexual assault. The lieutenant governor of Virginia is still the lieutenant governor of Virginia, with 2 women on the record accusing him of sexual assault. And I have defended due process for the lieutenant governor, and I defended the due process for Keith Ellison. But how quickly and how quiet has Kamala Harris? She is now searching and seeking Keith Ellison's endorsement for her presidential campaign. Hold on, I thought you have to believe all women. Are you trying to call Keith Ellison's ex-girlfriend a liar, Kamala Harris? Because the left has no principles. They only want power. So they will cherry pick and choose certain issues and instances, like the Brett Kavanaugh hearing, to try to exploit that for their own personal gain.
Right, that's exactly right. And absent facts, that brought us Jussie Smollett, right? I mean, some talk about someone that should be in prison right now. And when you start...
Thank you for the question.
Thank you for the question.
We have to hold the mic.
Thanks for having me up here. I appreciate you letting me skip everyone. So my question to you is, we hear a big game from Turning Point USA and the right on how you want to reduce the size of government, when in fact government under conservative leadership here the past, 8, 10 years has not been reduced. And you still talk about increasing it. The wall, farm subsidies, I could go on. So my question to you is, what do you plan on doing to reduce the size of government? How do you plan on pressuring your elected officials to reduce the size of government when, in fact, they're not doing it? They're only increasing it.
Well, look, I mean, the Trump budget itself reduces government. It closes federal agencies and merges all of them. You know that there's been more federal workers that have left the federal bureaucracy than have been hired under the Trump presidency. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
So before you start
I'd like
to
to
say,
see some numbers, though.
okay, I just gave you a fact. So,
We don't really have a chart or access to.
Baseless.
okay.
Okay.
You're entitled to your own opinion. You're not entitled to your own facts, but that's okay. So under President Trump, every single budget he's submitted to Congress reduces the size of government. Under President Trump, for 16 months, do you know that he signed a federal hiring freeze? Did you know that? He signed a federal hiring freeze, which by definition shrinks government because over thousands of people every single week retire out of the federal bureaucracy. So under President Trump, the federal bureaucracy has gotten significantly smaller.
Well, you're trying to push forward a $13 billion wall. That's socialism at its finest. Farm subsidies.
What? A wall is socialism? Do you know what socialism
farm
is?
subsidies?
No, I believe in national security.
farm-
I believe in
the
defending our
farm
borders.
subsidies
I do
that-
believe in a military.
What about the farm subsidies
Well,
that Trump, the self-induced tariffs that,
Wait, no.
that are
Can
now
you just?
requiring
Can we just
bailouts?
slow down? Hold on. Just slow down. Please explain to me how a wall is socialism, because that's the craziest definition of socialism I've ever heard.
It's taxpayer funds going towards the good of society.
Is police socialism?
Absolutely. Police and fire protection, public schools,
So all government
public
is socialism?
lands, it's all types of
So you
socialism.
believe all government is socialism?
No, those are municipalities.
Any taxpayer subsidy that's put towards the common good of society in whatever context you think common good of society is a type of socialism. And everybody here uses those types of programs. You got public lands, public roads. I'm sure everybody in here likes to go shoot their guns on public lands. Well,
first of all,
government takes care of
a couple
that.
interesting facts, though, because a lot of public lands are actually paid for by hunting licenses. Therefore, the people that purchase the hunting licenses are the ones that are paying in. Secondly,